All righty. So today is going to be pretty much more of a discussion based. Dr. Dom said when she wrote to the leaders this week, she basically said we're going to kind of touch upon each of the things we discussed last time. And you're just basically going to give an update on how you're doing with everything. If we have any questions to address about anything, if you're noticing anything while you're writing your papers or things are coming up that you're still a little confused on. So I guess we'll kind of just do it like we did last time, kind of in the order. And we're just going to start with basically discussing how you feel you've been doing on your standard alignment papers and if you've changed anything in your standard alignment papers since. Hi, Dr. Dom.
Hi, how you guys doing?
We're good. How are you?
Good. I had a little trouble getting in, and then I saw your added link. So I got in that way. I don't know what was wrong with the link that was in your letter, but
I don't know. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I tried that and it didn't work the last time too. So, but the ones that you put into Slack did work for me. So.
Oh, perfect. Good. Well, I'm glad.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to take any time up here because you guys need the time, but I do want to check in and ask if there's any questions I can answer right now. Hey, everybody, Sam, Christine.
Hi.
Sadi.
I'm good. Does anybody else have any questions?
No, I got some work to do this weekend for my papers for sure.
Okay.
And I just appreciate the opportunities you give us, Dr. Dom. Thank you.
Yeah,
On your feedback and attempting things.
I have a question for you, Sadi. Did you figure out how to see the comments and the margins of your paper?
Yeah, it reloaded. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna be doing that.
Yeah, so always check those, check the comments that I make in the margins. Those are really important for everybody. Those are the things that you need to correct. I mean, usually the comments I make in the comment section are general.
Yeah.
But the ones in the margins are specifically, this is what you need to correct or whatever, not just for Sadi, but for everybody.
Yeah, I was looking and then it wouldn't like load and I was like, oh, okay. But I think it was like the internet or the server at the moment, because then I tried again at home.
Okay.
And that was when I was at work.
You guys are really in the thick of it right now. I understand that because I know I'm in the thick of grading it too. So it just seems like there's just one thing after another, but it's gonna ease up a little bit real quick here. This week, this fourth week is very heavy. It's the middle of the class, and it really is the time when the stuff that you started at the beginning and the stuff you need to do at the end are kind of overlapping, and you're really getting quite a bit to do. But you'll get there, and I promise. I haven't lost one yet. So you're all very, very close. I did notice that there's an invitation to a reception after the graduation ceremony. I was looking to see that for graduates, masters and doctoral students. And that is going to be Tuesday, the 10th of May at 9 a.m. is the convocation for the Mary Lou Fulton. And I think, Sam, you're here, right? You're in Mesa. Probably working though. But at any rate, you're all invited to the convocation if you sign up and register and all that. But then they just put out an invitation. They used to have this lovely luncheon for us, and we would have all the graduate students there that could come, and that would take place right before the convocation, and then the convocation was in the early afternoon. Now they've put the convocation at 9 in the morning, so they're having a reception right afterwards in the same place they always used to have the luncheon. So you have to register. I'll put that on Slack for everybody in case there's people who are going to come into town or who are in town and can make it. Usually there's 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of your professors there. I know Karen Brown has attended, and Kim Lansdowne and Dina Brewis, and I do. So if you want to say hi, we would like to congratulate you face to face. And if you are going to the convocation, I will be at the convocation. So I've registered. I'll be one of the professors that shakes your hand. So
The
Be there.
convocations sounds nicer than the big commencement. So I did register for that.
yeah, you're in town too. So you and Sam are both here if you're able to get off work and do that. You know, I highly recommend it. It's a big deal. If you don't, and we haven't been able to really have it for the last couple of years. So the last couple
Yeah.
of many semesters, many people have missed theirs. And so I imagine, and they're all invited back to this one. So it will probably be large because people will want to do that final step. There's if you don't do the convocation or reception, all that stuff, and your friends and family are also welcome to come to the reception. You just walk across the street from the stadium arena, I should say. If you don't, I really recommend that you do something. Take yourself out to dinner, you and your significant other do something, because this is a big milestone. I've tried to impress you guys on this. I know it's hard to keep that in mind when you're in the middle of it, but years from now, you look back and go, wow, you know, that was a pretty big deal. So be sure that you celebrate in some way so your brain knows that it has concluded and your whole being can go on. So anyway, I want to congratulate you all. Please, if you have any questions, just, you know, send me a direct message in Slack. I try to get back to you right away. And if you don't have anything right now, I'm going to let you go. And
Dr. Dom, I did have one question regarding the portfolio. Do we need to include our team discussion recording on as well, or no,
You
just
should-
a summary?
most people have the recording link on the
Okay.
summary sheet. I
Okay,
noticed that one group didn't do that, and I
I
can't
think that
remember.
was us.
Okay, all the other two groups did, and so in that way, it's there. The
Okay.
thing about it is, it doesn't, they don't keep those recordings forever. Those
Okay.
recordings are only for about, I think it's 2 or 3 months or something, so.
Okay.
But, so you put it there and, you know, and then the link doesn't work, and it's like, okay, well, sorry.
Okay.
But mostly that's for this class anyway, so.
Okay. Just wanted to
All
know.
right, all right, it was a good question. Anything else? Make those summaries a summary. I've had, I don't think it was this group, but one group went way too far.
Okay.
It wasn't really a summary, it was a transcription more like, which isn't really what we are after here. All right, good luck.
Good.
Have a
Thank
good meeting.
you. Okay. So I don't think that was us. I think ours was pretty much a summary. So we're good on that. I'll upload our video onto my YouTube. So then we have a link for it. So we can just kind of, I'll put it in the bottom after I make the corrections too, because she made some changes on our summary. So I have to go in and edit it. So after I edit it, I'll resend it to you guys so you can put it in your portfolio. Okay, so
Thank you.
we'll just start with, like I said, I don't think this is going to take as long as it did last time. This is basically just an update. So we'll just go kind of in the same order, and you can just tell us how you're doing with we'll start with their standard alignment papers.
So, kind of like I said at the kind of beginning, my standard alignment papers have been good. Standard 1 and 2 were good. I just need to kind of really put in more thought. So that way, during my reflection, just because I feel like, oh my gosh, it's been a while since I've done those papers, and I'm really relying on, like, good job, old self. I'm really relying on, like, looking back at my digitation and looking at everything, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what I did. I think the difficult part is kind of remembering those texts as well. And I realized one class did not have me do a list of references. I forgot which one it was, but I made I think it was the creative class. And it was where, like, the beginning, the first project was like, talk about likes and dislikes about past teachers. And I was like, I didn't even have a reference paper, like citations page on that. And then the next one was reflecting back on one, like, creative project that, like, a teacher did, like, I think past, or like a mentor teacher. And I used my mentor teacher at the time. He was really cool. And no reference page on that. I'm like, oh no. And Then on my slideshow, when I made my actual creative project, I was never really asked for a reference paper. And then I was looking back even in that class, like the grading, everything, and I didn't even get docked for that. So I'm not blaming the professors, just like, oh, I kind of wish I don't know, I added that. So that's where I will be struggling. And thinking ahead, that's coming from my demonstration video, the next one. I know that's the next topic, but that's kind of what I'm working on. And so looking back, I'm kind of rereading other papers to see, okay, this is appropriate citations I can use. This is what kind of putting it together a little bit for at least for that one. But they're easy. I haven't really reflected, I'm not changing my artifact table. I feel pretty confident in what I wrote, and I don't want to overthink it and add more stress. And my feedback from Dr. Dome isn't that they don't align. It's just more on my reflection, my actual wording part, how I shared that I just need to go in and just work through it. We are in the thick of it. I'm feeling it for sure.
No, I feel you. No, I totally understand that. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Sam, how's it going? How's it been going for you?
So overall, I've gotten great feedback on those papers. It was more just a couple of small APA things to edit and change in them. I have found that my original version of the artifact table, which I may or may not have done rather quickly the night that it was due, as I've gone back and started doing the essays, a lot of what I have on there has aligned, but I did change, I flip-flopped 2 classes of which NAGC standards I wanted to use for it.
Yeah.
Because I decided to stay away from the creativity in the TEL 504 class because I felt that those ones were going to be harder to align for me and reflect about. So I swapped the TEL class with a different one for that standard. So I was like, I feel better writing about this one. I think it was standard 2 or 3 that I switched it for. But I don't know. I just feel like I get repetitive in them. And I know that Dr. Dom said not to overthink it and that they're very formulaic and everything like that, and not to get too creative. But I'm like, dang, I feel so uncreative as I write this. But
Yeah.
you
If
know,
I can add,
oh, go ahead.
I just I think that's why I'm struggling with these papers, because every component of the paper, it's okay, re-explain the outcome or re-explain the standard. And I understand because I'm okay, maybe this is where I can go deeper, but I'm my gosh, it's been a minute since I've done these projects, and I'm I can't. I'm relying on the digitation. I'm really relying on my past thoughts and my purpose description there, my little reflection prompt at the top. I'm my brain, but it's okay.
Yeah. One of the most difficult things I had with the first one is I started writing the reflection and I'm like, oh wait, I'm more rationalizing my decisions right now. So I had to start flip-flopping a lot of that stuff because I'm a very stream of consciousness writer. I'm not a planet writer, which as an English teacher is, I tell my students, hey, plan your writing, draft it, do it multiple times. And that's not the way that I write. But it all turns out because I just start cutting and pasting stuff into the right section after I've done it. And so it's been going well. It's just one of those where I'm so close to the end, and I'm a person who struggles with motivation this close to the end, especially when I feel okay, I'm just doing the same thing over and over again. So that's been my biggest struggle, is the motivation element to just do it.
Especially with our skin is feeling the summer. Our kids are feeling the summer, my students, and I'm okay, we're ready. I'm ready.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I have to agree with you, Sam. In terms of in the beginning, the narrative portion, I actually had my parents read my first paper because I was getting very confused. I felt like I was saying the same thing in my narrative that I should have been saying in my rationale. And I I was just like really overthink, like my first alignment paper, I worked like 4 days on it and I never do that on a paper. And I literally would come down and I'm like, what is happening? I was like, this is not difficult, but like for some reason, like I feel like this should be here, but like it's not, and I don't know. And Mom's like, you sound fine. She's like, you're just like, you're thinking too much into it. But now it's so what I've been doing in my papers moving forward is I literally like copy the one that I did before, and I kind of just use that as a guide how I'm writing. So I'm not writing the same thing, but at least I can keep myself on track in terms of like what I should or how I should be writing each section. But it's very hard in terms of like the standards and outcomes, especially when it comes to the strengths and weaknesses portion. Because I actually reached out to Dr. Dom about using the outcomes and measures in terms of like the strengths and weaknesses, because I was like, am I allowed to just re-say it again if I already like discussed how I like have my strengths and weaknesses in the outcome? And she's like, no, you need to relate it to the actual standard. And you kind of, she's like, I know it's repetitive, but you kind of have to like tweak it so it goes with the standard or whatever. So that's been a little bit frustrating in terms of that. I know personally, I know you guys, I think, are close to being done your school year. I'm not. Like my spring break is going to be in a week. Yeah. So my school year goes till I'm out June 24th. But I also start in September. So you guys start like in August. So
August,
it's
yeah.
like it's like all relative, I guess. But like my grades are due on Monday for like my third marking period. And I'm sure like your final grades are coming up too. So it's just like a lot with like life in general in terms of like making sure we're doing it. And like Sam said, the motivation, it's not sunny here yet in Jersey. We're still like experiencing, like, I'm still in my winter coat here. So I'm not getting like spring fever, so to speak, yet, but the motivation aspect, like being this close, is definitely hard as well. So I think a lot of similarities there. So I also kind of just stared. So Christine, do you have anything to add? How are your papers going as well?
My papers are going well. But yesterday I did have to spend a good part of my morning reworking my artifact table because I had aligned standard 4, I think, with the TEL 504, 501. I get COE and TEL all mixed up. But anyway, I had them aligned, and then I wrote to Dr. Dom and said, you know, I'm taking this class because I'm currently taking that class right now. So, and the culmination paper was set up as my what I was going to align it to. And so I'm like, how can I align it to that when so I was like, it's just going to be easier for me if I spend an hour or two going back through and realigning this, so that, and then I updated it on our shared whatever, so that the team discussion paper that you shared with us again today.
Oh, perfect.
So that's all updated, and I went back through and double checked everything, and I didn't change anything from the first 2 or from the first 3 alignment papers. So, and I've done 4 and 5, so I'm just waiting to hear back grade wise. But so I had shoulder surgery in February.
Mm-hmm.
And so typing has been difficult.
Oh.
And at the beginning, the very first week, I ended up with 10 summary papers for each one of because did any of you have to do that as well? Or did you do them as you went through your?
We did. Oh, you're talking on your our program portfolio.
Yes.
Oh, no, I did. I had to do 2. I had to go back and do 2, but most of my classes did it as like part of our final submission.
See, and
like the reflection piece, right, on the entire course.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had to go back and do like 5 and 6, because I only had a couple professors that did tell us, and I don't want to like blame them. Like, were we supposed to do it on our own? Dr. Dom, when we were talking, she did make it seem like the professor should have told you. So
Yeah, I had to go in and put in my entire TEL 504 and
Yeah.
my COE
Yep, me
501.
too. That's what I had to do.
Like the full thing,
Yep.
all the outcomes, the measurements, the titles, put the
I just-
documents in, the reflections.
It was
I
so
was
much.
I had to go back, just do the reflection. She just said, you can keep it at a paragraph. It's okay. I was like, thank you. But everything else, yeah, was done, the program outcomes and everything, but thank goodness, but
So you had to go back and do 10? All of
I
them, all of
I
the classes.
misunderstood the course reflection as
Yeah.
that, as those questions that came under the program and outcome things in that square. You needed your
yeah.
program outcome, and
Yeah.
then the measure, and then it asked you to write that paragraph on it. So that
Yeah.
to me was that's what I thought was required. So nobody ever corrected me, nobody ever said anything to me. And so I had no course. So in addition to all that stuff, and so as I'm sitting here in a brace that's got me not moving my whole one side of my body, I'm like, this is just, it was hard. So now I have, I'm caught up, and the artifact table was kind of, it's helpful. Each thing has been helpful in having me get my mind right on what the culmination paper is supposed to be. I think it's just a lot of work.
It is.
So
Yep, you are absolutely right.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think we're all in agreement. Well, luckily, we only have how many? 2 left after this.
Yeah.
So we're almost there in terms of that. So that's really good. So yeah, so it seems like we're kind of all on the same page in terms of how we're feeling about writing the papers and things like that. But it seems like we've all kind of got a handle on what is expected of us at this point, which is really
Right.
good too. So that's really good. So our next topic, which we're going to just keep on going, is our professional development videos. So Sarah, would you like to start?
so I'm asking if someone can link one of their demonstration videos in the team summary, please, just so I can get a better idea. I probably missed it, but Dr. Dawn was telling me to check out her 12 pieces of advice and for the demonstration video, just because I did too much. And so with that being said, like my video, I thought was like, okay, like if it did go over 3 minutes, like, oh, it's just like 2 more minutes, like it's okay. But she told me that, and I'm like, oh, okay. So what I just am doing now, I'm keeping the same topics, and it's gonna help me. I have the actual like slides and presentation ready. So that's the good thing, because you know how we can kind of like use what we've had and just modify it, at least for that. I'm not worried about the demonstration videos as much. And even my type ups, like the first one I did was so basic, I feel like each little like, you know, like section, I just like had about 2 to 4 sentences, and she didn't dock me on that. It's just more that, yeah, mine was just too much. So the next one that I'm doing, I adjusted the creative signature assignment project and really like took things off and just emphasizing on one strategy. So I think with the next one, I'm hoping to get really good feedback that way, at least for we only have 3, right?
Yes.
So that way I'm good to go. I think, yeah, the demonstration videos are kind of maybe more where my strengths rely on these. Yeah, so they're good.
Good. How about you, Sam? How was your first one?
So my first one went really well. I definitely found it, I had to film it like 3 times, because the first time I did it, I was doing the free version of Screencastify and I went over 5 minutes. So I was like, okay, time to consolidate, because I like to ramble and to go into excessive detail when I verbally explain stuff. And I was like, okay, got to keep it short, sweet on each of these slides that I'm doing. I forgot to do the anticipated question and answer section, so she didn't make me redo it, but she was like, hey, like, on your next two, don't forget, like, answer a couple of anticipated questions. But then I was like, oh, that's going to be difficult because I was at like 3 minutes, 15 seconds forgetting to do the questions. So I'm like, okay, so I just got to go like super,
Yeah,
like,
basic, like
yeah. And
level.
I'm not a super basic person. And what I had intended for these was to like leave these with the teachers at the school I'm currently at for them next year. I'll just put like a forwarding email address, like somewhere, like here's how to email me if you have further questions that I didn't answer. But I definitely like I enjoy doing them because it like sorry, I feel like it's like right up my alley in terms of like presenting, getting to be a bit creative, like here's this awesome thing to put in your classroom. I haven't started my second one yet. Like I know what I'm doing for it so that I can film it tomorrow because I've been trying to kind of eat my vegetables first and do the alignment papers for this week before I do that. Because I'm about 3/4 of the way done with both alignment papers. But yeah, I feel good about the videos. No concerns there. Just want to make them look good.
Yeah, exactly. How about you, Christine?
My first one, Sam, also, I did not put the Q&A in there, so you weren't alone on that. She didn't make me redo it, but what I'm interested in, are you actually like making you mentioned Screencastify, or is that what it's called?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Are
but
you actually doing it
Screencast was-
on a specific app that allows you to share a screen with what you're talking about? Or because I just sat there and explained it verbally like we're doing now, which is not what I preferred because I had stuff prepared for visuals, but I just didn't have the capability of sharing those and talking and it within the 3 minutes. So I
Yeah,
didn't wanna-
if you use Google Chrome as your
Yeah.
browser, it's an extension. You just look up Screencastify and the free version gives you up to 5 minutes that you
Okay.
can record your screen and embed your webcam. So I embedded like my webcam in like the bottom right corner where I didn't have any text the entire time. And so that way I was able to like look at my slides and have visual. And then like I felt a lot better because I'm like, I'm just this little tiny thing in the corner now. And
Yeah.
everyone sees that I'm wearing like a nice polo, but no one sees that I'm in basketball shorts underneath the camera. Because
Yeah.
that's how I virtually taught last year is it's like polo on top, basketball shorts on the bottom. I'm comfy at home.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I know for me personally, so my first video was like 6 minutes. I think I went too much, like you were saying, Sam, where you have to keep it surface. I think I wanted to make sure I was just including, like, I was explaining everything like she wanted. And I did do a Q&A, and that definitely adds like time because like the Q&A that I had, like my responses were like very specific to like research and things like that. So I don't know. I mean, it is what it is at this point. If I go over, like I go over, I'm going to try not to stress about it, but I definitely think I will keep it more surface level this next go around. But I literally just talked into the screen the whole time because I had mine was like more of a conversation with my superintendent. So it was really awkward because I was just like pretending somebody was sitting there in front of me and I was like having a conversation with them. So it was a little weird. But my next one for tomorrow is going to be focused on having a conversation with a student. And then my last one, I'll kind of use like a PowerPoint or whatever. So hopefully my next one will be a little shorter, but in terms of like actually doing them, I don't find them as challenging as the alignment papers. I agree with Sam. Like my focus this week has been on more so my alignment papers versus like the video, because I feel like that's something that we kind of all already do being teachers. So it's kind of it's a little bit less stressful to like not throw it together, but like plan for something like that. So
Yeah, I think what I was thinking just to like save time would be to like put in some like QR codes or something at the end that links them to either
Yeah.
articles or examples. So that way I don't feel quite so inclined to be like, let me demonstrate this entire example for you. Let me just
Yeah.
explain the strategy and say, look at the QR codes at the end for ones that you can make copies of and adapt for your own classroom teaching sort of
I think
thing.
that would be a great idea. Yes. Alrighty. So our last topic is our culmination papers. So basically we're just gonna do, I just want to check and make sure. I think she just said we're gonna do just an update on just how you guys are doing with it so far. Yeah, so just the progress you're making, just a reminder that you're choosing only 3 themes that you found, and each theme must have 2 different artifacts from 2 different courses to show how your theme is a trend in the field of gifted education.
So that would be like a total of 6 courses, right?
Yes, so 6 different courses, and they don't have to be the ones that you have written about in your standard alignment papers. So you can use other artifacts that, or you can use ones written about. That's what she said.
To be completely honest, to start off, I'm probably gonna rely on what I wrote in my notes in the shared team discussion meeting
Yeah,
number
last
one's
time.
notes, because I haven't reflected back on it as much because I need to reflect back first on redoing standard 3 and then completing standard 4 and the demonstration video, the next one. But I think for me though, it just makes sense, and I don't really want to, we only have a month, you know, and I don't want to like really think too much, like kind of like taking Dr. Dome's advice and just go with it, you know? And I'm pretty sure if they don't align well or she sees something weird, she will give us feedback for that. I'm
Yeah.
like, I feel really, she's really awesome. Like she'll tell us, you know, she'll tell you right away and she doesn't dock you on it. She's really kind about that, which is awesome. So I just want to, I'm going to stick about with irrelevant professional development workshops, advanced courses, because I feel like that's something I did talk a lot about and reference in my signature assignments. So they're there, and creating lesson plans, because for a couple of courses in 3, but the ones I wrote down, I had to create like 3 instructional lesson plans. The last class I took, 570 SBE 573, and then IOBUZ. I actually might change SPE 586 to the creative class, how I had to creative project and kind of talk about like creating an instructional lesson plan for that. So I might adjust that, but other than that, I'm probably going to keep it.
Okay. Yep. How about you, Sam?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like I haven't thought too much about it because I'm a very 1 week at a time person, so I probably wasn't going to think about it in a huge amount of detail until the rough draft was coming up, which is coming up sooner, obviously. But I mean, the thing about like this course and the artifact table is like I obviously know that we can do any artifacts from any courses, but it's like I kind of just want to use the artifacts that I've already pulled and repeatedly looked at, because I don't want to make it harder on myself to be like, oh, let me try and find this one project that I vaguely remember doing and hope that it aligns. So I really am just looking at the concepts of like professional development, differentiation, and testing practices, because that's basically all of my artifacts on that entire table fall into one of those 3 categories. So I figure I might as well keep it simple, keep it basic, keep those 3 trends, because I've written about them so extensively that I don't feel like I'm going to have to do a lot of cognitive lift in my brain to find that work, remind myself of that work, all of that stuff.
Yeah. Christine, are you in the same boat as well?
Yeah, pretty much. I have like a third one, third resource for two of my trends if I'm struggling with one of them per se, because as I was aligning my artifact table yesterday morning, I was also trying to get that also in alignment and look at as I was looking at the assignments, I was making sure that I had the assignments that I was thinking of in the culmination paper. So I'm pretty okay with that. So I'm just now wanting to get started with writing that, but I can't seem to get ahead on the everything else. So
Yeah, I feel you.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'm in the same boat as you guys. Like I said, just with the standard alignment papers, I know with work, it's been a little bit crazy with stuff. And then my spring break's coming up. So I've actually am going away because I need it. So like I'm trying to make sure I'm staying on top of everything before I go away, so I don't have to worry about it while I am away. So it has been stressful, but I'm going to keep what we discussed last time as my 3 topics as well. So differentiate, the importance of differentiation, the lack of professional development, and then creativity, the importance of creativity and giftedness. And yeah, I feel confident about writing it. The good thing about the paper, which I was, I have read the instructions and kind of what's going to be expected. It only has to be 9 pages.
9 pages. Yeah.
Yeah, so she doesn't want it over. So that's like good and bad. I feel like I definitely am a person who's more detailed in their writing. I don't think I have ever been like a very succinct writer. That's just like my writing style. So I might struggle a little bit with that, but like 9 pages is like, I feel like my standard alignment papers have been pretty long. So I feel like it'll be like kind of easy to bang out. So
Yeah, mine have been like 8 pages. Yeah.
Yeah, mine have been probably around there as
Mhm.
well. So yeah, but yeah, so the I guess I'll just give a reminder that our culmination draft is due on Wednesday, April 20th by noon. Okay, so she said to receive full credit, we have to turn it in by noon. But it is a draft. So that's what like I always tell myself in these situations when our big drafts are due, it is a draft. So it just, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect, but so that makes it a little easier as well. But does anybody else have any questions about anything that I should bring up to Dr. Dom that might have come up while we were talking or anything like that? Or are we all good? I think we're all basically like on the same page at this point.
I should get to work in a little bit.
Yeah. Yes. So what I'm going to do is tomorrow, because I have some plans today. So tomorrow I'm actually going to, I'll make another shared doc so we can start writing up. I think, should we just like divide it up in terms of like a section of each? Would you guys be willing to like take like somebody take like a summary of what we talked about for I feel like it's going to be a very short summary. And as she mentioned here, like it should be a summary. So I'm thinking it's going to be short. So like, does somebody want to take just like standard alignment? Somebody take culmination project?
I'll do our first section, our first
Okay.
round.
All right. And then does somebody want to do the professional practices section? Christine or Sam?
I'll do the culmination papers.
Okay. And Sam, is it okay if you do the demonstration videos? Is that okay? Okay, perfect. And then I'll do like the intro and the conclusion, and then I'll edit it and like set it all up and stuff like that. So we can just make sure we're good with that. So perfect. You guys are great. And this was a great meeting. I'm going to send the recording in the group, so we'll all have that as well. So I hope you all have a wonderful Saturday and good luck. And like I said, if you ever have any questions about anything, feel free to type it in the group chat.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Have a nice day,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.
Bye.
Take care.